The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
Listen up, the soap you shower with, it's you probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. They're still using whatever bar their mommy bought for her little man. Is that what you want? To smell like mama's little man? Ugh. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Click the link for Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Real soap for real men. Or don't. And continue to be mommy's little helper.
Live tonight from Fort Worth, Texas, we're here at the Texas Motor Speedway for race number 14 of the Dr. Squatch Pro Series presented by SESRA. It's the Lone Star 200 right here on your home for live sim racing, LSRTV. We'll head to the track action here in just a moment, but first let's get up into the virtual booth by way of our producer, Brett Wheeler. I'm David Schildhouse, joined alongside as always by Justin Prince and Rachel Whiteford. And Rachel, quickly we'll go to you. They say everything's bigger in Texas. We'll see if the rivalries are bigger here as well. Certainly no one forgets what happened 1 week ago, the contact between Jeff Ward and Michael Cozy Jr., nothing short of controversial. We'll see what happens here tonight. What do you expect to see out of these drivers here at Texas?
Well, you stole my line about everything being bigger in Texas, but right now we've got Justin Bolton, who's catapulted himself to second place right between Cozy and Preet, and of course, Jeff Ward. That's going to get very, very exciting. Looking forward to a great one tonight. Texas definitely produces either phenomenally clean racing or phenomenally awful racing. We'll find out what we get.
And Justin, real quick before we take a look at the starting grid, Jeff Ward came out of last week with a win, a lot of controversy, but also a much bigger points lead than he's seen in quite some time, some 20-plus points over Spencer Preet. How do you think he approaches tonight?
I think right now he approaches tonight trying to look for the win. That's got to be the main goal for both of these drivers because they're still tied too in the Midwest Regional Championship when you look at that too. Just 3 points separate the two drivers for that in the second to last race for the regional, David.
Absolutely. Things expanded as Preet tried to leverage a tire strategy. It didn't go his way for one of the few times this season. Ended up with a poor finish, and Jeff Ward, again, that controversial win with the contact there in turns 3 and 4, came away with that checkered flag and expanded the points lead. But cars are on the track, so let's take this opportunity to look at tonight's starting lineup. The man leading him to the green flag will be the aforementioned Michael Cozy Jr., still looking for his first win on the season. He's had plenty of close calls, but tonight could be another one that he could try and turn into a win. Justin Bolton will be to his outside. Showed up late to practice, but still fast nonetheless. Inside row number 2 will be Spencer Preet in the 00. Is outside the points leader, the man he's chasing, Jeff Ward. Chris Berg will come from 5th place. Steve Ritter in 6th. Hunter A. King will roll off from 7th. Brad Collins 8th. Dan Philippi in 9th. And Mike Montesi rounds out the top 10.
If only people knew how much we argued about how to pronounce that name. Derek Paulson, 11th place. Taylor Butcher Benjamin in 12th with Rick Thompson. Ashton Schleiss and Carl Vince Gilbert in 15th place with Ryan Wash. Jay Graves Jr., John Johnson, Jacob Sayers, and Matt Ridgway in 20th.
Doug Johnson with a brand new paint scheme in 21st. Jason Taylor 22nd with Aiden Patterson in 23rd. Sonny Thompson and Jason Anderson round out the top 25 in the drivers who recorded times. Starting in the back without recording times, Mark Arthur, Brian McRae, Fred Thompson, and Zachary Sprun. Zachary Sprun has missed the start for this race. We'll have 28 drivers on the starting grid tonight.
Want to make mention real quickly here, Michael Cozy Jr. does win the V2 Design Pole Award. We'll talk about V2 Design here a little bit later, but Pole Award sponsored by V2 Design that will go to Michael Cozy Jr. here tonight. Getting set for what should be a great show. 134 laps around Texas Motor Speedway. Green flag is in the air, and Michael Cozy Jr. and Justin Bolton are down and away, leading the field across the line down to turn 1 for the first time.
It's a great start compared to what we saw in practice, and I guess it always shows to show you that practice isn't always the be-all and end-all. These guys keeping it beautifully clean through 1 and 2. Got to be careful there. Bit of a hump coming off turn 2, which could always throw you sideways. Justin Bolton with a big jump here on the outside, trying to keep it up there with Cozy. Can't get it done. Preet hounding. Awful race for him last week in Iowa. The corn did not fall his way. Well, this week, he is looking for redemption.
Everybody completes this first lap. Looks to be clean here, and it is Michael Cozy Jr. that leads the field back around first. Side-by-side battle there appears to be for about the 5th position. Dan Philippi in the 70 going underneath Hunter A. King. That outside lane not as strong, especially as the tires wear, Justin. So if you're going to make moves, it's got to be now while the tires are still good.
It absolutely has to be, especially for a lot of the drivers. You need to be towards the bottom side, I think, especially for that long run once these tires settle in. So I wouldn't be surprised to see drivers be a little aggressive before that fall starts to kick in by, say, a lap 8 to 10 especially.
Talking to a couple of drivers before tonight's race, looked like the fuel window tonight was going to be somewhere between 50 to 50 laps. They do have 2 sets of tires waiting for them in the pits as well. So they'll make 2 pit stops. That's what we'll be expecting at least 2 tires or 2 tire-based pit stops. They can take fuel as much as they want to. So possibly looking 50 to 50 laps here for a 134-lap event. So they'll start to set up their strategy. But everyone said they got to take care of the equipment. Rachel, the right front, especially this track, very easy to beat up and abuse.
Absolutely is. And I love how precise you are with that pit window here. It's looking like Spencer Preet is all over the back of Cozy Jr. Between 50 to 50 laps. That is incredibly precise. If someone
I said 50 to 55. I apologize.
You didn't. You said 50 to 50. It is, yeah. Either way. Either way. Yeah, fuel's going to be a factor. They're looking like they're going to get probably 2 in terms of sets of tires they can put on, but that means they need to make 3 stops. So they're going to hope for a caution at some point coming up here, as Preet is absolutely on fire so far. Let's hope he literally isn't on fire. That would be awful for his race, but dives to low side in 3 on Cozy Jr. Will this be his run? Cozy goes up high, giving him that spot, gives him a lot of room once we're meant to off the corner. Preet to the stripe.
To the front here to start lap 6 is Spencer Preet, and I did talk with him pre-race as well. Talked with a number of drivers just to get a lay of the land, see how much has changed over the last 7 days when we left Iowa. There's some crumpled sheet metal, Justin, and some hurt feelings. A lot of guys tossing around terms like payback and revenge between Rebellion Racing and Loud Pedal Motorsports. So far, and from what everyone's told me, the likelihood of any payback here tonight was low. Everyone sort of seemed to be on the same page where they wanted to race hard but race clean. But and I can quote Michael Cozy Jr. here. What he told me is, if he's in position in 2nd place on the last lap behind Jeff Ward, he might be looking to make things even.
Yeah, I don't think it's smart to have any sort of retaliation, especially early in a race like this, because if you do that, you risk, of course, sanctions, you risk damaging your car, and basically you risk messing up your entire strategy. As I said, I wouldn't blame though Michael Cozy Jr. for that kind of a situation if that comes to be, but still a ways to go in this race until then, because it's looking like he's about the same pace lap time-wise compared to Jeff Ward on the racetrack for the most part right now, with him still holding on to that 2nd spot. But they got to be thinking about this, where he's pulling off and away for that 50-50 pit strategy.
Yes, between 50 to 50 laps. I mean, they want to put him in the tightest window. That's how you know you got the best drivers out here, because they can't go one above or one below. Oh, goodness. It's been a long week nonetheless. I've been looking forward to this event, Rachel. A lot of fun last week and an unexpected result, some fireworks. Something this series hasn't necessarily been known for is a lot of controversy, but here we are on the 14th race of the 20-race calendar. We finally got something that really spiced things up, but all in all it really led to was Jeff Ward having a really big points lead, something he's enjoying at this point, I'm sure. Yeah,
absolutely, and it's something that we will look forward to seeing how it plays out across the season, of course, and I'm looking forward to see what Cozy and Preet can do. Of course, Preet had a terrible race in terms of strategy. It killed his season in that race. I think he can come back from it, though. He's got a great opportunity here to do something with that, and Cozy's looking strong. Bolton looking very strong. That could be a definite thorn in the side of Jeff Ward.
Well, I think back a couple of months ago when we were at Atlanta Motor Speedway, Justin Bolton was there and was very strong in that race, as he normally is anytime he shows up, but experienced some technical difficulties and didn't get the finish that he was looking for at that point. But Texas, obviously very similar in a lot of ways to Atlanta Motor Speedway, so Justin, no surprise to see him up there. I bet you he's conserving something, a little bit of something, to run third right now. I bet you he's got more speed stowed away somewhere.
Yeah, that's the smartest strategy. If you know you got a fast pace in the long run, why don't you save your tires? That's what the best drivers encourage, but the caution flag comes out, and it's a crash on the backstretch. Patterson involved in this one, along with Doug Johnson.
Yep, 2 cars go around in the middle of 1 and 2, and it spills onto the back straightaway. We'll get the replay up here for you. Take a look at what happened. Looks like that's Aiden Patterson in the 0-1, underneath the 88 of Doug Johnson, seeming everything's okay, and the 0-1 just kind of runs up the racetrack on corner exits and gets shunted from behind by Brian McRae in the 35. That really sets everything off there, Rachel.
Yeah, it's one of those unfortunate locations for that to happen. It's the place we'll see it happen all night, but regardless, it's definitely a good one so far, as the race, well, 12 laps in. I thought either we were going to have cautions before this, so 12 laps, I could take it. That's not too bad. This could be a good time to come in and top off that tank. If I was a driver right now, I would definitely be coming down pit road, filling that fuel tank, and resetting my fuel window now to lap 65, at which point I'm in far better condition to actually go for the 2-stop.
A lot of damage for the 0-1 and the 88. Both of them, that might be terminal. We'll see how it plays out for them if they can come down pit road, get that fixed up. But that's a lot of damage to sustain, especially at a big track like this where downforce is so important, Justin. Damage like that can definitely alter the performance and not completely kill it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Patterson might have engine damage from that accordion effect with him, Johnson, and McRae. McRae with that severe damage, especially coming and pulling back the right rear quarter panel. Just a tiny hit was at some tracks, especially the 1.5 miles like Texas, can make you loose on corner exit. That could absolutely hurt off his race. But at this point, they got to fix off their damage. I'm surprised McRae just went and topped off fuel and didn't even fix that front bumper from how much damage is on that car.
Well, we'll see how it shakes out for them, but definitely not what they were looking for in the early stages here of this one. And while we're under yellow, we'll take this opportunity to talk about V2 Design. They do sponsor the pole award here for the Dr. Squatch Pro Series presented by SESRA. Partner with SESRA for the remainder of the season to provide a free paint scheme to each pole winner. Last week, Jeff Ward, and we get a look at that number 9 at some point here tonight, which I'm sure we will. You will see it is no longer the white Arctic Ford Mustang. He's got a little bit brighter color scheme to that. So tonight, Michael Cozy Jr., so expect to see the 99 with a new coat of paint next week. But Victor over at V2 Design is proud to share his artistic talent with the fastest driver each and every week. So Michael Cozy Jr., the V2 Designs Pole Award winner here tonight. Not bad, Rachel. Show up, get yourself a free paint scheme for going fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Seems like a great deal for these guys. And yeah, some deliveries we've seen so far have been phenomenal.
Very nice nonetheless, and we'll take the opportunity to talk about the title sponsor of this series, the Dr. Squatch Soap Company. Dr. Squatch raises the bar for men's grooming industry and changes the way men approach their hygiene by providing healthy, all-natural products that allow you to feel like a man and smell like a champion. Use promo code SESRA15 at drsquatch.com for 15% off of your very first order there. That's promo code SESRA15 at drsquatch.com. So big thanks to the Dr. Squatch Soap Company. Get some good smells. Pine tar, I think, is one of them. They got some fantastic commercials. Justin always brings a smile to my face. Those guys, very creative. Got to say, they're catchy adverts.
Have to agree with you. Seen that as part of our coverage here, and they're pretty entertaining, to say the least. And, of course, many of the fans watching along, I think, enjoy them as well. But it's going to be an interesting race from here on out once they have this restart here with no one taking that topping off fuel strategy. It looks like everyone, again, aiming for that lap 50, then hoping to pit maybe second time if we stay green, let's say around lap 100, and work from there.
Spencer Preet will elect to go to the top side for the restart here. But yeah, nobody decided to come down and top off fuel like you were saying, Rachel. Perhaps track position at this point in the race just too important to even give it away to come and get fuel. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think right now they're focusing more on what this rest of the run will be for them, and hopefully it can develop to a good position for them to lead into this next segment. We'll say before we go green, though, one of my friends also who watches recently bought some of the Dr. Squatch soap, and, well, he is a bit of a mummy's little boy, so mummy's little man, sorry, so we'll see if it can turn him into a big pine tar chap. We'll have to find out about that one. We'll probably find out next week, but for now, back to you, David, for the restart.
We'll look forward to getting the full report on if he was able to turn it around and become a champion, or at least smell like it. Yes, at least smell like a champion. May not be a champion, but at least he could smell like one. But we'll reset here for the restart. Pace car will work its way back to pit road. Spencer Preet, Michael Cozy Jr. on the front row. Jeff Ward to the outside of Justin Bolton in row 2. Big wiggle out of Michael Cozy Jr. My goodness.
Behind him.
Oh,
wrecking.
Oh, my
Biggest
goodness.
one, wheel spin. I've got the numbers here. We had the 91 wheel spin up into the 7, took him out, and then 2 cars spinning further up, the tyres further up, hit the 70. He gets turned by the 5 of Paulson, and it's just carnage, carnage, carnage as everybody's slamming in the back of the pack into each other. And there's the big one.
Oh, my goodness. That's the slowest big one you will ever see. But, yeah, I was talking with Jeff Ward. He said this is probably one of the most difficult racetracks on the schedule for restarts with tire spin. And you saw there 3 or 4 different cars on their own had a difficult time. Michael Cozy Jr., Ryan Wash in the 38. Or, I'm sorry, that was, who's in the 38 tonight? That's Ryan Hunter King. Just in the 38 had trouble. And, gosh, what a huge wreck here, Justin. There's more cars not involved than involved in this one.
Yeah, that's why I was shouting, look at, because that was how big it was getting. Started with the real spin up front, but once they started colliding really and going off in the grass, I think that's where it was done. On very worn tires, rather, on a track like Texas, that's very easy to do if you aren't gentle on the gas, and that's what happened with the 91 slamming Motesi, slamming him hard on the wall. 4 wide, multiple drivers spin, and everyone basically just outside the top 10 got absolutely destroyed before even crossing the start-finish line in this incident. Obviously, a lot of drivers ducking straight to the pits after that incident.
A lot of drivers swept up in that. Saw Jay Graves Jr. involved. Ashton Schleiss involved as well. Ryan Wash, the 29 of Rick Thompson, got a piece of that as well. Yeah, just a huge wreck. And again, at very low speed. And it just goes to show, it doesn't matter how fast you're going in one of these cars at this track. Even at 60, 70 miles an hour, you can really wreck a lot of cars, Rach.
Oh, absolutely. And that was a key example of what you see from older tires on a restart. These guys all getting there, finding out that they didn't have the grip to put the power down as quickly as they thought they could. And unfortunately, yeah, that's what happens. Wheel spin. So many cars in that pack got wheel spin. They all tried to put it down too hard. That's going to be something they'll learn from this stop onwards, is that later on in this race, they can't just hammer it down after 12 laps on new tires. They're going to have to be gentle on these restarts, and which will probably mean this might be one of our last wrecks, possibly.
If the drivers are paying attention, they will certainly learn from that one. You got to be nice to the throttle pedal. You can't just jam it to the floor. Mark Arthur in the 12 also caught a big piece of that one, as you saw on the replay riding through that wreck there. Snuck through ever so slight and then got turned around and got more involved than he definitely wanted to. So probably half the field, maybe not quite half, but a lot of cars, if not half the field, involved in that restart melee there on lap 17. So now, with that one out of the way, Justin, these drivers got that in the back of their mind for the next restart. How do you prevent that from happening? I mean, all you can control is your own car, but you give a little bit extra room to the guy next to you, the guy in front of you, to just in case he goes wrong?
In that sort of a situation, I don't think keeping enough space for someone on to your side is what you need to do, because you can give enough space as you can. You could still end up hooking straight to the right and still hit the driver giving you space, or going to the left, for example. Really, you just have to be patient on the gas. Don't mash the gas going from 0 to 100. You're going to have to go by feel and listen for your tires if they spin. If they start spinning, you have to back off the gas and basically hope to keep it straight. If you hook towards someone, you're basically hoping that you don't just go snap loose into traffic in that kind of a situation. It's just going to be about, can you manage, can you feel if you're starting to spin those back tires? And if you, depending on your equipment, you have to listen for it closely, because if you don't, you're going to have another crash on the restart.
Certainly right. Lights will go off at top of the iRacing.com pace car. And we'll take another crack at this thing. Talked about the points championship coming into tonight. Want to highlight a little bit closer here before we go back to green. Jeff Ward comes in 27 points over Spencer Preet. Derek Paulson, 32 points back, so only a 5-point difference between Preet and Paulson for second and third. Mark Arthur currently fourth, 67 points out. Mike Montesi rounds out the top 5, 79 markers back. So a big points lead for Jeff Ward. All the controversy of last week and maybe feeling like he's got a bullseye on the back of that number 9 as well. Rachel, he's got to put all that out of his mind. He's up on the front row right now. Doesn't seem to be the driver too worried, but how difficult is it to keep all that stuff blocked out?
Very, but when you're at the front, you've got another chance to actually get this one right for the launch, but everyone behind is just going to be patient, and I think they'll all be a little bit timid on this one.
Certainly expect to see these guys tiptoeing a little bit more to the throttle pedal here this time around, given what happened last time. We'll see. Pace car dives down pit road. Might be the safest place to be as the field is in the hands of Spencer Preet and Jeff Ward on the front row. They're down and away. Everyone keeps it pretty straight there, and definitely a little bit slower looking restart, but definitely no wrecks either. So that worked out well for them. And here comes Michael Cozy Jr. now into second. He gets by Jeff Ward as Ward slams the door on Justin Bolton through 1 and 2. So nice little fight there. Everyone down single file.
And
absolutely, that first 4 cars in the group there, just singling out 5 cars now with Butcher Vincent Gilbert, I should say, who's joined that group. Of course, Bolton and King. Bolton's an interesting one, of course. He dropped back earlier on the start, but moved up very rapidly here. He's up in 4th place now. Good opportunity to take a move here, but Gilbert might be an outlier for this race.
There goes Michael Cozy Jr. through to lead. He got a great run down the front straightaway, gets past Spencer Preet, so put Cozy Jr. back out front. Your pole sitter back to the lead here on lap 22 as Jeff Ward falls back to 4th under fire from Kyle Vincent Gilbert. And that was one I was told to watch out for, Kyle Vincent Gilbert in the 227. The heart and soul, all the energy and emotion of Rebellion Racing was definitely fired up after last week's events, seeing his teammate Michael Cozy Jr. get taken out there for the win. But those two side by side, of course, as the racing gods would have it, but nothing doing there. And again, I don't expect to see anything break out until maybe if there's a checkered flag on the line once again. But everyone giving each other a lot of room. Cozy Jr. back to the point. Justin Bolton now up to P2.
Yeah, Bolton now going on a charge. Might have saved some tires on that first run before the caution flag. And now, because of that, mixing things on up, he's trying to get back going and have a chance here. But look on behind, too, because Ward finally has got himself to the bottom underneath Kyle Vincent Gilbert to try and get himself back into a rhythm.
A nice move there from top to bottom for Jeff Ward. The crossover, he'll complete the pass down the back straightaways to put Ward back to 4th, and Hunter A. King now up to 6th after getting a little piece of that restart crash. No worse for the wear is that 38 as Steve Ritter in the 16 will move through up into 7th, challenging Ryan Wash there. Wash fighting back on the outside, but here comes Justin Bolton up front for the lead down into turn 1, much like Cozy did to Spencer Preet. Justin Bolton pulls the same move, so put Justin Bolton now up to the front.
Yeah, really good move to get right on the inside. Another good run, and he's got some speed. The question is, can he maintain it now if we get a long green flag run? Because it looked like before, again, he was holding a bit back when he was in 3rd in the first run. Now he's got that clean air that's going to make it so much more difficult to pass if he was able to save just a little bit more to have that kind of advantage until the pit window opens up.
Well, if the pit window is between lap 50 and lap 50, Rachel, we're at lap 26, so about halfway there. So you saved a little bit in the first half. You use the second half, if that's what you're doing, to sort of press a little bit more.
I think you really need to. That's one of those situations where you've got to try and just read the race as it's going so far. Right now, Bolton, Cozy, Preet, they're filling each other out. This is test waters. They're just trying to see who's got the race car right now, where you can pass each other, what you can do. They're probably going to settle down into a rhythm, work out each other's strengths and weaknesses, and go for that from this point forwards, because you don't want to use too much too soon. I'm 30 laps already, so we'll be approaching 100 to go in about 4 laps time. Well, actually 7 laps time, I should say. But it's going to be a phase where these guys want to just use up this first set of tires, exploring the race. Every new track is a whole new place to race these guys, and, you know, practice, they're holding a bit back. They're not going to show them everything. This is where they want to try and understand each other's driving styles, and there is some separation there. The top 4 pretty equally split, really. Vincent Gilbert joining them as well. And then you've got a good gap there with Hunter King, Ryan Wash, Ritter. It's still fairly spread nicely.
like a couple of prize fighters just feeling each other out in the early rounds, throwing a couple jabs here and there to measure the capabilities of the competition, Justin. But it is Justin Bolton out front and putting down really good lap times, running just a little bit quicker, just a hair quicker than Michael Cozy Jr., not by a wide margin. Everybody in the top 4 well within the 30.3 bracket that last time by, but that seems to be about it. Everybody else a little bit further off the mark, and one car that's really struggling here, you pointed out, Kyle Vincent Gilbert in the 227. Looks like he's got the parachute out a little bit. He's falling back.
Yeah, he seems to be a little tight on corner exits, especially turn 2 is where he's losing a majority of his time. And when you get tight, you have to get out of the gas earlier for longer, really, to make sure you don't slam up into the wall. And that's what's been killing him, really, on those corner exits. And that's really reeled back in Hunter Kane, Ryan Walsh back in as well. So this is allowing them to close in as 2 different drivers nearly hit the wall behind them.
That's going to be a common theme throughout the night here. Guys getting real tight on exit. This the feedback that I got from the drivers with it was a rather snug setup, so it doesn't really want to rotate that much. So they really got to be patient getting back to the throttle. Another driver I want to talk about and look at here, that's the number 8 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Had himself a great run the past couple weeks, back to Kentucky 2 weeks ago, and last week at Iowa. Really opened some eyes as he worked through the field and got up as high as second, was battling for the lead. Pit strategy ultimately undid him last week at Iowa, but up inside the top 10 here to 9th, and Derek Paulson there in 10th behind him. But Taylor Butcher Benjamin, this might be the night that he's looking to put a complete race together, Rachel. He's had really strong runs, just hasn't finished them off, but here at Texas, another opportunity to change that.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Texas is a great equalizer. You've got a brilliant position here to have a 1.5 miles that races like a 2-mile track. It's an incredibly fast place here, and turns 1 and 2, 3 and 4 are very different. 1 and 2, it's kind of a high in, drop it down low, gun it out, try and keep low below the bump out of 2, which is on the high line, which can kick you sideways. And 3 and 4, it's a lot of a faster corner, so you're trying to keep maybe a lane up from the bottom there to try and get that car to rotate through. It's a lower banking in 3 and 4 as well. The actual height of the banking in 1 and 2 is actually wide, that when IndyCar came here originally, drivers were actually could be close to blacking out with the G-forces from the banking there, so it's a much higher corner.
Steve Ritter will complete the pass. He's been battling with the number 1 of Ryan Walsh for probably the last 6 or 7 laps side by side. Those two have absolutely been going at it behind Hunter King there, but now Ritter will complete that pass and move up into 7th, but for how long? I don't think Ryan Walsh is going to be content to sit there, as he'll follow him down low through the front straightaway. Nothing doing there, but great battle all through the second half of the top 10 here, as these guys will reel in the 38 of Hunter King. So good battles here. Looking on the track, nothing really else catching my mind or catching my eye at this point. No change up front. Justin Bolton still 0.8 of a second up over Michael Cozy Jr., Spencer Preet 3rd, Jeff Ward in 4th, and then it's a couple of seconds back to Kyle Vincent Gilbert. So looks to be about 4 cars seemingly on the same pace up at the front, but nobody really touching Justin Bolton right now.
Not for the time being, but right now at this point, there's of course at this point, if you're farther back, you're starting to see some drivers really trying some different lines. You were talking about Taylor Butcher Benjamin, how he impressed you a little bit before. He's been trying to diamond off on the corner exits by taking a high entry, then going to the low side for the corner exit, especially after getting a run to hold off Derek Paulson, who just clipped the apron and now is letting Dan Phillippe right into the inside line. So drivers are trying to see what is going to work here. But again, as you talked about at the start of the broadcast, if you use that high line a lot, the tires burn up very quickly, and that's why we've seen if you're up at the front, you're not trying things differently. You're just sticking to the bottom side, knowing that if you try something too aggressive, you're going to lose tons of time, potentially, if you fall out of your rhythm.
And if you're saying to yourself, gosh, that name sounds familiar, the guy that's driving the 70 car tonight, Dan Phillippe, you might recognize the name as a driver who's made a few starts out in the K&N West Series. An iRacer in his own regard, but definitely trying to make the transition to real-life racing as well. Out in California, West Coast racer. So if you recognize the name, that would be why. And looking at that number 70 Toyota Camry, a little bit of damage to the left rear. I think he got caught up in that restart madness that we had not too long ago, as the yellow flag will fly here on lap 38. Looking on the track to see what's gone wrong.
It appears it's on the backstretch, guys.
Yes. 51, Jason Taylor, a lot of smoke out of the back of that Ford Mustang as something went awry for him. Sporting a new paint scheme tonight as well. That's not going to be the result he was looking for.
No, absolutely not. And it looks like it's probably the classic Texas mishap of coming through 1 and 2, too wide on the exit. 25 drifts up, just tags the back end, dodges him and drives on. But unfortunately, he takes a trip to the inside barrier, and with only asphalt there and barely any runoff room, back up he bounces.
That's a big hit there for the Ghostface Brewing, featuring the Cuddies Irish style red here tonight. Nice looking paint scheme. It's not even St. Patrick's Day yet, but I like that green paint scheme. But I think, as they say in racing, Justin, green is an unlucky color, and for Jason Taylor tonight definitely proved that.
Yeah, an unlucky situation where it's just basically classic Texas. Yeah, if you're on the higher side on that corner exit, you risk getting hit on the left or a quarter panel on the corner exit, or getting body slammed up into the wall. And that's the case, just a matter of inches out you've seen on the replay for that situation. But the pit window is open, guys. It looks like everyone's going to try that strategy. They push their pit window back now to lap 40 with this caution for the first set of tires. For the first set of new tires, I should say, for the race.
Interesting. Yeah, they came in here on lap 40, and I guess the leader would dictate that if I had to imagine. It looks like Cozy Jr. is going to overshoot his pit stall just a little bit, so a little error there. That's going to hurt him where he's going to rejoin, but everybody else taking their service. At this point, lap 40, figured it was the right time to do it, but since Justin Bolton decided to come down pit road, that's going to drag everybody else down. Who's going to be second off? It looks like it's going to be Spencer Preet barely edging out Jeff Ward. Kyle Vincent Gilbert will be the next one off pit road, and then I believe... I don't know who. I didn't see who the fifth car off the line there was, but for Michael Cozy Jr., that little slip up sliding through the stall is going to cost him.
Yeah, it always does, and that's a huge amount of time. It'll cost you a position or two on the pit road, as a second or so.
It looked like one car stayed out here. That's Steve Ritter in the 16, but I would imagine he hasn't taken service yet, and I see that, but I would imagine he can't be staying out there to stay up front on this restart. He's going to get absolutely tore up if he does that. That doesn't seem like the right strategy, Justin.
No, it does not, and I'm surprised he didn't duck into the pits here. He might be waiting until maybe 2 to go and then 1 to start the back, but I mean, this is not a smart call in this kind of a situation, because at this point, even if you've been holding the clutch in these two caution periods, rather, I should say, you're going to have to pit by about lap 60 either way, at the very latest, I think. So he could absolutely get ran over here. He might be wanting to hope for another caution or think of a strategy call, because we've seen in some of the recent races that if you've been able to make that work, it can work to win the race. But I don't know if this is the type of race to do it at, especially at this kind of a track. He might be passed by everybody within 5 laps and might be at risk of being lapped down by the time he has to pit.
We'll see how that plays out for Steve Ritter. I also want to highlight the 0-1 of Aiden Patterson. We saw him get caught up in the first caution flag here tonight. Got some damage, but he is up to 6th place right now. He did pit that last time by. I believe he took just a pair of tires. I think he only took 2. I'll have to go back and confirm that, but he is up to 6th, so a little bit surprising to see that there with that damaged vehicle. We'll see how he hangs in that 6th position. Keep an eye on the 16 of Steve Ritter if he's going to make that move down pit road. Seemingly committed to staying on the racetrack still, Rachel. I'm not sure what to make of this.
If he stays out, which he looks like he might be doing, then welcome to the next caution flag when they try to restart, because he's going to be tied to a brick and everybody else is not.
Interesting. Lights go out atop the iRacing.com pace car, and Steve Ritter is out there. So maybe he knows something we don't, but I can tell you, Spencer Preet and the rest of the inside line, they have got to be absolutely beside themselves right now, knowing that they're restarting behind a guy who has not pitted yet. They're going to be in that slow lane. It's going to be a mad scramble, and the possibility of contact is pretty high at this point, Justin.
Yeah, I think so, because 40-lap-plus old tires with 2 separate heat cycles means tons of wheel spin no matter what you really do when you hit the gas. So if you are right now on that bottom line, you're thinking, I want to get by Ritter as fast as I can, because if I'm behind him on the exit of turn 2, that might be the end of my race if they end up going 3 wide for the corner exit. Need to take it safe here if you're behind him for this restart.
Takes a lot of discipline to do that when the guys on the outside lane are able to go free and clear at full speed, and you're sort of pedaling it to get by the guy in front of you who hasn't taken tires yet. So we'll see how this all shakes out, but get ready. Grab your popcorn. Steve Ritter's on the gas in a way. That's the best thing that could have happened there, but he's still going to be slow getting up to speed. Keeps it even with Justin Bolton. Got to give him credit there, but where is Spencer Preet going to make his move? He's going to have to try and get around him here. Once they get to the corner, it's not going to go very well. Here goes Bolton. Here comes Jeff Ward on the outside, but Ward seemingly has some difficulty getting up through the gears, and there's the stack up inside lane. Look out. They keep it clean for now.
3 wide there. Ritter, Preet, and Ward as Preet shoots through the gap there. Gets himself dropped down, but look at this big catch up here as Ritter just goes backwards.
Ooh.
Knew this was going to happen. Nearly problems there as a car to get somebody outside wall as well. That was going to be the number 01 that had the problem. Aiden Patterson, sorry. Wow, that was close as we have
trouble
behind us.
That's one car. That's Jay Graves Jr. spinning around in 1 and 2. Look out. Everybody seemingly is going to get by there. I'm surprised it took that long and that far back in the pack, as they were almost 4 wide trying to get around Steve Ritter, but somehow Jay Graves got turned around, and his number 86 will come to a rest and go back to pit road.
Yeah, and I think it's because Jay Graves Jr., if we can look in the replay, hit the wall in the corner entry. Sometimes if you don't realize your line or take it a little bit too high, you can bounce off that safer barrier, and that's what he did. Bounced off Dan Philippi and head on into the turn 1 wall as a result as he pinballed back and forth across the track. Philippi just scrapes the wall as a result, but Graves Jr. got the worst of it, lucky to not get hit by multiple drivers coming behind him.
Saw Brad Collins get caught up in that. He grabbed a piece of Jay Graves Jr. as well. Really a strange incident there as the safer barrier seemingly suctioned Jay Graves Jr. and as he cranked the wheel hard left to pull himself off of it right into the path of the 70 of Philippi, Dan Philippi there, and off Jay Graves Jr. went like a pinball.
Yeah, absolutely just got pinballed, as I said. Just nothing else you can really do in that situation once you pinballed right towards the right is just try and lock it down and try not get collected even more so, or collect anyone else with you to destroy their races. But I think his day might be done at this point at the back of the field, unfortunately for him with the incident. I want to be, but you know who this helps out, I should say, is that different strategy we've seen from Steve Ritter. I wouldn't be surprised to see him come in now, where he's going to have the freshest tires in the field.
Yeah, he is on pit road getting service right now, so kind of a break for him to get that quick yellow flag. Rachel, I'm surprised they did not wreck sooner. We saw these guys 3, almost 4 wide trying to get around him. It didn't really matter until they got to the corner when he just can't hold the corner speed that they want to go. A lot of patience showed. I got to applaud the drivers there for not making a big mess of it.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is going to be one of those situations. A lot of patience from those drivers, and it paid off for them, but whew, that was one that was definitely coming.
Got to give a call to Taylor Butcher Benjamin, who had the opportunity to try and go 4 wide and sacrificed himself, jammed on the brakes in 3 and 4, and really lost a lot of speed, lost a lot of ground as well, sitting behind Steve Ritter to not make a bad situation worse. So Ritter will cycle out of this with new tires, albeit, you know, a handful of laps fresher. So that could be his best friend right now, Justin, I think, is a long green flag run now at this point with 5-lap fresher tires or 6-lap fresher tires, whatever you want to call it. If he gets a long green flag run, that could definitely be to his advantage.
It can absolutely be to his advantage because that's at least about a 10th or 2 faster overall for the start of this next run here if it stays green. I wouldn't be surprised if they might be able to manage a top 10 with this kind of a strategy. Now, too, the question is, though, will it stay clean enough for that strategy to work? The next time that pit window opens up is around lap 90 for most of the field until about lap 100. So keep an eye on that. It's just a matter of, can we stay green? Can we keep the cars off the wall?
We'll reset the field here before we get the 1 to go. It is Justin Bolton out front, Spencer Preet in 2nd, Jeff Ward 3rd, Michael Cozy Jr. up to 4th, and Kyle Vincent Gilbert in 5th. So Cozy Jr. rebounding a little bit from that pit road mistake where he slid through the pit stall, so up to 4th there. Seemingly restarting on the outside wasn't too bad, Rachel, except for Jeff Ward. Had trouble getting up through the gears, it looked like, as they got to the middle of 1 and 2, seeming where he might go from 3rd to 4th, really struggled there and killed his momentum. Is it a difficulty to really get through the gears here in these cars?
It could be, yeah. I think it really is, and it's not as difficult as you'd think, but if you miss shift, it can be very difficult, and I think that could have happened to him there.
It definitely looked like, from the vantage point I was watching, the car was accelerating and then all of a sudden just lurched and just lost a ton of momentum there. So I don't know if he's got the H pattern or what it may be, but definitely the missed shift there cost him a little bit of time, as the lights will go out atop the pace car one more time here on lap 48. Getting ready for another restart. It will be Justin Bolton and Spencer Preet on the front row. So, Justin, I'll put it to you. Spencer Preet, a very motivated man, but seemingly a faster driver in Justin Bolton right now. What's Preet going to have to do to get out front and stay there?
Well, Preet, to first off answer a question, 4/10 faster in terms of the fastest lap of the race overall at 29.1 compared to Bolton's 29.4. But to answer your question, one, think he has to keep it side by side on the restart. Two, if they keep it side by side through the apex of 1 and 2, Preet, I think, will be able to get a better launch off the exit on the high side, and if he can clear him into turn number 3, he can drop on down, hold on to the spot, and work from there. It's just a matter of, can he time it up compared to how Bolton takes this restart?
Another opportunity here. The last restart went pretty good. I think that restart wreck is still on everybody's mind. So we'll see him tiptoe here, although fresh tires that might be a little more, on the gas, I guess you could say. But nonetheless, they fire off. Green flag back in the air. Justin Bolton, clean getaway. Preet struggled a little bit on the outside lane. He's got Cozy Jr. pushing him down the front straightaway here. Jeff Ward clears himself up into the second position as they work down into 1 and 2. The rest of the top 5 will duke it out. Here comes the number 1 of Ryan Wash underneath Michael Cozy Jr.
Ryan Wash showed a lot of speed last week at Iowa, a real promise as a driver, and he's showing that again here at Texas. Great run from him so far. Bolton doing what he expected, getting to the front, but with Preet, Ward, and Cozy fighting this one out. Ward looking very strong at the moment. Preet looking also pretty good. Cozy's really dropped the ball this race, I think, so far.
Man started on pole and wasn't up there for very long, and then the mistake on pit road sort of magnified his issues here as he finds himself back in 5th under assault from Kyle Vincent Gilbert. But yeah, great restart there for Jeff Ward in the 9. No issues getting up through the gears that time, and it really propelled him forward. But Spencer Preet happy to take the spot back. He told me that was going to be his main objective, to keep beating the number 9 as much as possible in order to get some points back. He knows that it's really a hard thing to do, and the guy you're chasing, keep finishing, 1st and 2nd every week. You can't get many points back. He's going to need some bad luck to befall Jeff Ward, but for now finds himself 1 spot ahead of that number 9.
I think, though, as you might have seen, I think Ward just let him on by, knowing that big picture, if he ends up fighting Preet too long, that's how they end up letting Justin Bolton walk away from the rest of the field. So just thinking big picture at this point. But look at the run from Ryan Wash all of a sudden up into 4th spot after starting 16th in the race, and starting to really gain ground now on Jeff Ward too after that good restart from him.
A great run here for Ryan Wash in the 1. Made his first start a few weeks ago and has been fairly consistent. I think the first time we saw him might have been the Brickyard or maybe the race before that, but he's been a name that's been in the top 10 as the yellow flag will fly here once again. Looks like the 29 of Rick Thompson involved this time. Down the back straightaway. We'll get the replay up. I think that started in front of him, Aiden Patterson possibly, and the 01 losing it by himself. Yeah, we'll see it on the replay here. That's a hard hit for both of those drivers.
Wow.
Yeah, that was really big, and I think it DQ'd our buddy there who disappeared mid-crash. But unfortunate timing and location for 29, just in the wrong place to catch a piece of that. Just lost the back end off 2, caught a bit of the bump, got sideways. Texas crash.
And that launched the front end of Rick Thompson's 29 up into the air with that hard of a hit. But yeah, the rear end just steps out on the 01, tries to chase it, and overcorrects into the outside wall, Justin. An easy thing to do.
Absolutely, just drifted about 45 degrees, in fact, and just slammed to the right. But look at Dan Phillippe's angle, because he had maybe an inch or two to work with, barely got out of the gas, nearly got hit into the fence as he hooked to the right, and just avoided the calamity behind him with Thompson along with that machine of you seen with the 01. Philippe absolutely lucky to not be destroyed on that wreck too, guys.
Oh, that's about as close as it gets for Dan Phillippe. I'm telling you, you couldn't have put a sheet of paper between him and Aiden Patterson's spinning car there. That is, whew, he's a lucky guy. That's 2 weeks in a row. We saw it last week. K&N driver Jesse Awuji was in the field in Iowa and narrowly missed a huge wreck in front of him. And here tonight, again, another K&N West driver and Dan Phillippe avoids the car spinning in front of him twice, misses him on the way into it, on the way out of it almost gets clipped as well. So nice job there. And I guess like they say sometimes, it's better to be lucky than good, Rachel.
Yeah, luck plays more effect in a race than being good every day of the week. Especially in oval racing, avoiding wrecks is 50% luck, 50% talent. You can attribute it to whatever you like, but it's going to be a 50-50 guess which way to go half the time, and sometimes you just get it wrong.
Well, some of those things are out of your control, and all you can do is hold on, point for the hole, and hope for the best. Let's give a call to Brian McRae. Give a call to Brian McRae, currently running 9th. Matt Ridgway up to the 10th position. Haven't talked about them too much here tonight. McRae found his way into the first wreck here and has recovered nicely. Matt Ridgway in the 13 had a good seat for last week's finish. It was all behind him, but now finds himself up into the 10th spot. Had a good run at Kansas a few weeks ago as well, so that number 13, still no sponsor on that car, but looking pretty sporty here in the early goings, Justin.
Yeah, and he's been getting more and more stronger, that number 13. But I want to get back to McRae, as you mentioned there. I'm surprised he's been running as well as he has with that front bumper basically absolutely destroyed in the front splitter. He's just been able to, while he's been affected on the straight line speed since that accordion wreck about lap 10-ish, he's just been able to hold on his line really and take advantage of everyone else making mistakes. It's just that kind of a race where he's just been letting it play out and just getting damage repaired as he's gone on for his normal scheduled stops. And it's worked out that way. So I think at this point, McRae might be in line for a surprise top 10 at the way this goes.
I want to take back what I just said a moment ago. Matt Ridgway does have a sponsor. It is Ghostface Brewing, the beer lab. My apologies to them. That's a sharp-looking paint scheme. I was looking... I don't know where I was looking. I didn't see that. It's a good-looking paint scheme, that black with the neon green. Ghostface Brewing making a big... I see a lot of cars with their contingencies on it, and a lot of nice-looking race cars out there with that sponsorship.
Yes, it looks great on those cars, and I believe they have been a title sponsor of races in the past, so very good relationship with the series.
Does that mean that we get free beer up here in the booth as well? That would be bad. I could go for that.
Yeah.
That's one option to go for.
I mean, there's worse sponsors that have try and push their products up to the booth than a brewery, that's for dang sure. But nonetheless, we're on one to go here, so another restart looming for these guys. It is still Justin Bolton out front. Spencer Preet will be to his outside. Jeff Ward, Ryan Wash will make up row 2. And that'll be Michael Cozy Jr., Kyle Vincent Gilbert in row 3. Hunter A. King, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, row 4. And again, Brian McRae, Matt Ridgway, rounding out that 5th row. So we haven't got that green flag run like we saw early goings. A lot of stop and go here with these yellow flags, Justin. I know these guys don't want to wreck. They don't want to have these issues. And seemingly it's damaged cars that are struggling. But you think we have the opportunity here to get back to green flag racing?
I think so. Usually it's around this point in a majority of races where you get kind of that long green flag run. The question is, does that happen now? These drivers, again, remember the last time on old tires, all spun the tires. If this happens again, we might have a similar case. We'll have to see who takes this restart the best.
Wasting no time, Justin Bolton on the gas immediately as the pace car pulls off, and he is away by over 3 car lengths at this point over that 2nd row. Jeff Ward filling the spot on the bottom, but Justin Bolton gone. Absolutely launched himself perfectly. I don't think anybody anticipated him to go that early in the restart zone, so he enjoys a nice half a second lead already off of turn 2. Jeff Ward up to 2nd. Again, Ward and Preet switching around. Ward will be out front on the restart, and then Preet will come and take that spot away. We'll see if it works out the same way this time. Ryan Wash up to 4th.
Yeah, Bolton's launches have just been so good so far this race. He's really proved out front he can start so well in these things, and he's definitely got it nailed. Right now, Ward, Preet, and Wash. Cozy not looking as relevant after that mistake, of course, but let's see. At this stage, I think Bolton could be the shoe-in. Preet has to be my 2nd pick.
Fair picks to make by my estimation. Justin Bolton definitely had himself a win in sight at Atlanta, the way he was performing there, if not for the technical issues. He was battling with, Jeff Ward and Michael Cozy Jr. and Spencer Preet as well, don't get me wrong, but he was definitely showing a little bit more speed than the others were able to, and here tonight at Texas, no different, as Jeff Ward continues to hold off Spencer Preet. Everyone hunting and hugging that bottom lane through 1 and 2. Nobody wants to drift off of that lane right there. You can't make it work any higher than that.
No, you really can't in 1 and 2. If you slide up the track, you open up the door for someone to make the pass. So that's where tire conservation comes in for a lot of these drivers, where if you're able to save the tires to be able to keep that grip, especially with the tight setup, you're in a decent shape to keep on moving forward and gaining time as the race goes on. If you slide up, you may as well hope, you gotta hope that you don't have someone on your back bumper to aero push you up the track for turn 2.
Yeah, that definitely plays a factor, the aero push and the aerodynamics. Even on the sim, you can definitely do that to somebody, and if nothing else, even if that's not the case, you can just get into their head a little bit when you get and fill up that rearview mirrors. Here comes Spencer Preet down to the inside of Jeff Ward. Took him a few laps to finally get there, but he will do it. Complete the pass and clear up to second position. Does go Spencer Preet to put Jeff Ward back to third, and there's Ryan Wash just watching it all happen in front of him in that number 1. Seemingly plenty of speed in the specialized machine there, Rachel. Nice job for Ryan Wash.
Oh, absolutely great job there by him, and just getting this thing done so far. Ryan Wash, again, has really impressed me so far in this race, and the last one, of course, at Iowa. Right now, he's in a good spot to really take advantage of this thing. He's in a great points position in 4th. He wants to try and push for the win, and, well, right now, everyone's going to focus on Bolton. He's 1.1 seconds ahead. It could be early tire luck. Could be that he's just running his tires better. It's a tough one.
It'll certainly be a good story to see him pull a win out, or at least get a podium finish. We haven't talked to Ryan Wash yet this year, and he will take 3rd position away from Jeff Ward right now. So maybe Ward not feeling 100% comfortable at this point, pushing as hard as he wants to, or is just feeling out the car, expecting a longer run and saving his equipment. Justin, what do you think?
I kind of think it's the latter of the two, because he let Preet go and knew that Ryan Wash was getting the faster run on the short run than him, and let him go, I think, there once he got the run together. I think at this point, he's maybe running that 35-40% strength right now and trying to save the tires for the final 30 laps to then gain the time back by the time they have to come back into pit. Because that is where a lot of drivers in a tight race condition situation can really take over the race, but depending on the strategy.
Well, it seems to be the one Ryan Wash, not as strong out front of Jeff Ward as he was following, and here comes Michael Cozy Jr. as well. So last week's combatants, if you will, Rachel, the 9 and the 99, nose to tail here off of turn 4. Don't expect any fireworks to drop out here, but do you think Jeff Ward, maybe if not conserving for any other reason, the fact that he doesn't necessarily have to go up there and beat his equipment off to get a great finish. He's got a 27-point lead coming into the race, and Spencer Preet's only 2 positions ahead of him, so he doesn't necessarily have to push it, knowing the big picture. There's a championship in the balance here.
Absolutely. That's one thing these guys really have to focus on. Bolton really isn't in that picture, so if he wins overall, doesn't really matter. Of course, he wins the race. They all want to win races. We heard that last week in interviews, but right now, 2nd place is going to be the best points available to the guys running those championships. So right now, Preet's in a good spot.
The big picture, that's what Jeff Ward was telling me earlier today as I was talking to him. That's the way he's got to approach these things. But you know what? As we cross the halfway point of tonight's race, let's take a look at our iRacing Midway Race Break. Brought to you by iRacing, the world's premier online racing game, with professionally organized racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, and more. So as they run on lap 67, Justin Bolton is your leader. Spencer Preet is 2nd. Ryan Wash, nice run up to 3rd. Jeff Ward 4th. Michael Cozy Jr. currently in 5th and looking for more. Kyle Vincent Gilbert runs 6th. Hunter A. King in 7th. Taylor Butcher Benjamin in 8th. Steve Ritter 9th. And Matt Ridgway rounds out the top 10.
P11 tonight as they run. Derek Paulson currently in a good battle there with Brian McRae, Dan Filippi, Mike Montesi, Ashton Schleiss in 15th place with Chris Berg, Mark Arthur, Brad Collins, Doug Johnson, and John Johnson in 20th.
Right now, the last driver on the lead lap, Rick Thompson in 21st spot, 15 seconds back of the leader. First car lap down, Jason Anderson in 22nd. Then you have to go to 8 laps down, where Jason Taylor currently sits in 23rd after blowing his engine from that crash before. Sonny Thompson 24th, Fred Thompson in 25th. And the DNF so far in the race, Patterson, Graves Jr., and Sayers, Sprun, did not make it to the track after missing the start of tonight's race.
And that's been a look at your iRacing Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, visit iRacing.com to sign up today. So here we go, just past the halfway point now, and it's been Justin Bolton, the man out front, Rachel. Seemingly nobody has anything for that 76 here tonight. He didn't get a whole lot of practice, but you know what? For Justin Bolton, I don't think he needs a whole lot of practice.
No, I don't think he does, and right now he's doing exactly what he has to do to win this race and to get himself into the title picture, and honestly, he's doing a fantastic job of it. Not much I can say to that other than keep going forwards.
The Dover winner, Justin Bolton, was, and certainly in contention in a number of other races here. Not a full-time driver, but certainly every time that he jumps into the server, all the other drivers' hearts sink just a little bit. And Justin, you know, in your time on the sim, when you see those big-name guys show up, you know that's probably one less finishing position that you might otherwise get. And seemingly Justin Bolton is here to win, not mess around with anybody.
Yeah, that's the goal for him, to win races, as we've talked about a couple times. And when those kind of situations happen, depending on how many drivers there are, you think to yourself, okay, we're fighting for X position, whether it be 4th, 6th, 8th, and hope. And if you don't reach that spot, you know it's a bad race. At this point right now, though, there's still anything that can happen as long as drivers keep on hitting their marks. Preet, though, hit the wall on the entrance of turn 1, similar to what we've seen with one of the prior cautions, and it's now damaged slightly his right front fender.
Oh, come on now. It wouldn't be a race, Rachel, would it, if Spencer Preet didn't hit the outside wall? That's seemingly his trademark. He can hit the outside wall and still be faster than 90% of the field, but when you're trying to catch a guy as fast as Justin Bolton, you can't afford to do that, and I think at this point that's allowing Michael Cozy Jr. to close in just a little bit.
Yes, and he is, and that's one thing he has to really try and focus on pushing forwards, is the longer run over this incoming fuel run, the tire run, of course, is try and have a better run towards the end of that. If he could do that, he could wind in the likes of Bolton. 2 seconds is not unachievable. They've got quite a long way to go.
Everybody very spread out at this moment. Best race right now seems to be still between Ryan Wash and Jeff Ward, as Ward will look to make that move to get back up to 4th. He will get it done here, but those two have been absolutely at it, neck and neck for much of this run here. Jeff Ward and Ryan Wash trading positions, so right now Ward will get the spots back from Ryan Wash as that battle rages on.
Yeah, it looks like he might have turned up the dial in terms of the amount of effort he's putting behind the wheel, saying, I've saved enough for the tires for now. I want to try and gain back more time, because he lost about 4 seconds to Justin Bolton while saving tires, sitting behind the back end of Wash. I think now he tries to close that gap back up and hope that he saved enough tire wear to try and at least close that in half by the time they go in for the pit window.
Ward about 4 seconds back of Justin Bolton right now. We'll keep an eye on the lap times as they click across the line, but you know, we're here on lap 75. They've gone about 36 laps since the last service that they took, and we expected maybe 50 to 55 laps would make up a fuel run. So probably within 20 laps or so of the next round of pit stops for these guys, and that would put them just on the other side of lap 110 or lap 120 maybe. Or I'm sorry, let me take that back. Around lap 100, so setting up maybe about 30 to 35 lap finish on that third stint for tires, Rachel. So what do you think? Come in right at lap 100, come in a little bit earlier? What do you think?
I think you're probably at this point aiming for just 400, maybe 100 if you can push it that far. I think that's going to be a bit of a stretch at this point. Maybe 95 to 90 is where we're looking at. Gives it a nice even run.
Nice even run, and I think for the driver, you know, let's be honest. Spencer Preet probably at this point, and Michael Cozy Jr., Jeff Ward, these guys probably thinking to themselves, it's unlikely they're going to catch Justin Bolton unless something big happens. Not on flat-out speed. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. Because even looking at the lap times right now, Justin Bolton's still running in the 30.5s. Everybody else either at the 6s, 7s, or even a 9 I've seen for some drivers. So a lot of guys still far off the lap times that Justin Bolton is setting. So maybe they're all gunning for second best at this point, and you have to sort of strategize around that, as Jeff Ward will move around the 51 of Jason Taylor, who was caught up in an earlier accident. A lot of damage there on that vehicle. So, you know, it's the race to the next green flag pit stop. But, Justin, we've seen this season some guys will just kick off that next round of pit stops, but other guys will completely ignore it, not caring that they're losing time on the front end, trying to make it up on the back end.
Yeah, and that's where, again, the strategy comes in. I kind of wouldn't be surprised to see maybe somebody try the short pit strategy, because we're starting to approach that sort of window to go towards that route. but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see that as well in this kind of a race. There's still a ways to go in this. You kind of want to have the better tire wear, I think, for the end of the run at this kind of a point to try and hope that you have enough of a run to be able to try and get something together about 5 laps until the safe fuel window opens up here at Texas.
Well, something to keep an eye on. There's going to be probably at least 2 different strategies the guys are going to try and leverage to break something up. If you know you're not going to beat them on all-out speed, you got to try and do it with some strategy. That's the only other alternative right now, and so maybe you short stop or short pit, I guess, try the undercut and get some quicker speed before the rest of the competition. But we've seen guys like Spencer Preet stay out longer than we think and ultimately hurt themselves because they just have too much of a gap to make up. I'm not sure if Spencer Preet will do that again. It really cost him last week at Iowa, Rachel. So maybe he learned from that and he won't stay out so long this time. But he knows he's just got to worry about the 9. But even 2 spots ahead of him, there's not a whole lot he can do.
Not really, no. And at the moment, he's going to have to just focus on what he has in his car and work with that. And that's going to be the bigger part of this whole thing. Bolton isn't even in the picture right now. 3.2, he's just pulling away. These guys are all going to basically focus on their race. Because right now, he isn't in the championship position. He's not been in enough races. He doesn't matter. Right now, Spencer Preet is in championship first in this race. So it's technically Preet, Cozy, Ward, a very familiar trio of names. Ryan Wash really showing he is a very relevant driver to this whole story. But honestly, Preet's looking like the one who'll scoop the most points out of all the championship contenders.
Indeed. And before we get to the next round of green flag pit stops, let's take a moment to step aside briefly. You've been watching coverage of the Lone Star 200 here on LSRTV. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the other side of this commercial break to catch the next round and the final round of green flag pit stops.
During the First World War, big soap started taking out all the natural ingredients to make production cheaper and faster. And they replaced all the natural stuff with chemicals. Chemicals like sodium lauryl sulfate, parabens, and dioxane. Chemicals linked to depression, liver damage, cancer, and low sperm count. And worst of all, dry skin. Oh, your poor balls, all dry, empty, and sad. Click the link for Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Real soap for real men. We make our soaps with natural ingredients from the earth. Ingredients like oils, plants, goat's milk, Greek yogurt, oatmeal, shea butter, and citrus. No. Turn your shower game up to 11. With the smooth lather of gold moss or the exfoliating woodsy bliss that is pine tar. Get ready to step out of the shower feeling alive. Click the link for Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Real soap for real men.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Here's a couple reviews from real customers. Joseph S. says,
"This is the perfect bar of soap. It's like it was handcrafted in the Northwest Forest by beautiful tiny elves."
"Oh, tiny elves isn't enough for you? Well, here's another review from Michael A.
It makes you feel like you just stepped out of a mountain stream, and Squatch was there to hand you the towel."
Click the link for Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Real soap for real men. You want to smell like the forest? Boom, pine tar, we've got you. You want to smell like the sea? Boom, nautical sage, we've got you. You want to smell like you just got off a boat in the Caribbean? Boom, bay rum, we've got you. And with 6 more cents, we've got you covered no matter what kind of man you are. Click the link for Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Real soap for real men.
And welcome back to the Texas Motor Speedway for the Lone Star 200 here on LSRTV. About to close in on the final round of green flag pit stops. Keeping an eye on Justin Bolton, Michael Cozy Jr., Spencer Preet, and Jeff Ward as they are on their 52nd lap of this stint. So closing in on when we expect them to come down and take service for the last time here tonight. Those seem to be the guys, but Justin Bolton is way out front. He's got about a 5-second lead right now over the next 3. So really it's Bolton in his own zip code, and then the next 3 racing each other pretty closely here, Rachel. The green flag pit stop could definitely shake this up.
Certainly could. I mean, Bolton has bolted. He's gone. There's no catching him. 5 seconds up the road now. Gained 2 seconds whilst we were away on air. He's out of here. And unless something really weird happens to him, he's going to win this thing. But Cozy, Preet, and Ward, that will be the real shake-up when it comes to pit stops. Whichever one of them makes a mistake, if any do, that will really impact them.
We've seen it already a few times here tonight. Guys making mistakes, getting onto pit road, getting into their pit stall. Will that be another storyline here tonight? I think back to Atlanta with Michael Cozy Jr. With the mistake getting onto pit road, spinning out from a top 3 position. So that's probably something that might be on his mind as well. But Justin, isn't it funny? Here we are, 1 week removed from the drama of Iowa, and the same guys managed to work their way around the racetrack at 95 times now. And they're still just nose to tail once again.
Yeah, it is a little bit funny at this point, but we haven't seen anything heated or anything like that. That's the positive thing. But at this point, I do find it kind of curious. Maybe it's the way they've been running this year that has them chained together at sorts in terms of pace. I don't know really what to say in terms of that question, but there's still a lot of laps to go. Mind you, the pit window is open since the one driver on the lead lap to undercut so far has been Dan Phillippe, the only driver to do the undercut, in fact.
That's the humor of the racing gods, no doubt about that. But there's a reason they're always up front, because they have very good pace and performance overall, and they always match each other seemingly no matter where they go. And it should be that way for the remaining races here on the schedule as well. This is the 14th race of 20. So I would imagine we'll see more 9v99 before it's all said and done. Sprinkle in the 00 of Spencer Preet as well, as he is the meat in that sandwich. As these 3 guys get closer and closer together now on the 57th lap of this stint. Rachel, I got to imagine they got to be getting ready for green flag pit stops. I just don't see anything to indicate they're coming in just yet.
No, I think they're maybe the call of 95 to 90 was a bit early. Depending on what they've got here, they may go as far as 105.
Something to keep an eye on. If that's the case, that would set them up for, what, about a 30-lap or so, a little less than 30-lap run to the finish. So really the race within the race right now is for second place between Cozy, Preet, and Ward. That's definitely the most entertaining and intriguing battle and storyline right now, as Justin Bolton has stretched that lead out over 5 seconds at this point. And Ryan Wash, who was really up there contending for a long time, he's still in 5th, but he's 5.5 seconds back himself of this trio. So really this is the big 3. They've been the big 3 for much of the season, and here they are running nose to tail once again, getting ready for these green flag pit stops. So this is the most entertaining thing on track, at least in my opinion, to keep an eye on. Maybe it'll be a scenario where one of them blinks first and drags the rest of them to pit road, or somebody says, you know what, I'm going to stay out just a little bit longer. I think I can make it up on the backside. Justin, what are your thoughts there?
I think it depends on the driver. Depending on how you feel the pace, Some drivers will immediately try and follow it in. Right now, they are at the perfect distance, in fact, to do that because Bolton is coming into the pits. Looks like everyone's going to at least try and have fresher tires by at least a couple laps. No one else following the race leader in from the top 4.
Interesting indeed. Justin Bolton, the only man on pit road, at least from the top spots there, as we'll watch the rest of these guys and see if now this is their cue to duck onto pit road. Or maybe they say, you know what, he's gone by 5 seconds anyways. It doesn't really matter. We have to settle this amongst ourselves for second place. And so, you know, let's not worry about what Justin Bolton does. This race is his unless the yellow flag comes out and something else happens. That's really going to be the only saving grace for these guys. And maybe that's what they're hoping, is that they can stay out there for another handful of laps, get to that lap 105 mark, Rachel, and then have a caution come out or something like that. And they can have, you know, 5-lap fresher tires as they go past Bolton now. And that would really put Bolton at the huge disadvantage.
Certainly would, and I think that would really shake this one around. A caution would be phenomenal for those guys up front, because it forced him back into a position where he's really going to struggle to get the traction he needs over 30 laps. But look at the speed advantage now as he comes up here behind Ward, flying past. He'll be back past these guys in no time whatsoever.
That visually shows you the value of new tires, fresh rubber, all that grip. Nothing that was going to stop him from getting through there, and there was no reason to even fight him, but just absolutely flying through the leaders here to unlap himself as they'll go 3 wide with Matt Ridgway. Look out, that was close quarters there. My goodness, Spencer Preet really made it anxious for Bolton and Matt Ridgway as they blended back together going into turn 3. That was probably closer than Preet even wanted, but look at the effect that it's had as Michael Cozy Jr. is stretched away from these two. So Cozy Jr. have about a second to himself behind him to Preet rather and Ward. That'll help him for these green flag pit stops, I think, if he can pull this off.
It definitely can, as long as he can keep the car clean, because right now, look back to where Cozy Jr. is. You have many more drivers on fresh tires who have come on out, and Cozy Jr.'s in trouble!
Oh, that's not good. Matt Ridgway squished up into the fence. That's going to bring the yellow flag. And all that was precipitated by the car in front of Cozy Jr. slowing to pit. And Cozy Jr. had nowhere to go, Rachel.
No, not at all, but this definitely helps, of course, with Bolton. Gets him back on the lead lap, but he's at the back of that for now, but he won't need to pit, of course. The rest do, so that will change that one around, but oof, this is going to make things more interesting with about, 30 to go.
That was Brad Collins in the 28 who was slowing to make his pit stop. Cozy Jr. not realizing it, still running his normal line on the bottom. Turns right to avoid running into Brad Collins, and Matt Ridgway in the 13 on fresh tires was just right there. Nowhere to go. Up into the wall he goes, and also involves, who is that next car? That was Jason Anderson in the 27 as well, setting off a multi-car wreck here as we're getting ready for green flag pit stops, Justin. That's quite the wrench to throw into it. Now Cozy Jr.'s got damage as well.
Yeah, significant damage on that right front, and the right rear, mind you, too. So depending on how hard that was, it could be possible engine damage. It could be whatnot. Going to have to be interesting. He didn't overrun the pit box this time, but there was no warning whatsoever to try and have that happen. No time to really avoid in terms of the damage. Looks like he did avoid significant motor damage, but still at least 20 seconds of damage on that right rear, right front as he still comes out first in the pit lane.
Doesn't look like he elected to take any time to fix the damage, not wanting to give up any track position. He probably figures he'll deal with whatever he's got now for the next 30 laps or so. But that's not the first time Michael Cozy Jr. has been out front and had some drama unfold with the slower cars in front of him. I think back to New Hampshire as a great example of when that happened to him as well. So flashbacks for Michael Cozy Jr., and it's not the first time this season in general where the leader has run into issues with slower cars.
No, not at all. And right now, that's always going to be one of the biggest problems when you're lapping traffic, is that they are inherently slower than you, less predictable. So it's the one time you have to be on it.
And what that has done, in effect, has moved Justin Bolton back in front of this group, since he did unlap himself very fortuitously right before the yellow flag flew. So he does naturally ascend back up to the lead, albeit with 5-lap older tires than that of Michael Cozy Jr., Jeff Ward, Spencer Preet, and the rest of the top 7. Dan Philippi currently in 8th on 16-lap old tires, so he he was the one that made that early undercut, Justin, and this caution really hurts him.
It does a little bit, I think, here for sure. Philippi specifically, as you were talking about, because now he's in this case where he needed the race to go green for the strategy that he had to work. He's out of sets of tires. Most of these drivers are. So at this point, he's going to have to trust hope for damage control. Hope he doesn't spin the tires again. Hopes that the the run goes off well. It goes from that. In the case of Bolton, while you mentioned the 5-lap for older tires, depending on how he handles the start, and if he can hold off the drivers behind him at the first few laps range, especially here, guys, it could be the case where he can back up the car a little bit, try and build everyone up and have them race each other to wear out their tires to equalize themselves here.
Yes, certainly is, and that's one thing they'll have to really factor into this one, of course, getting off this line. Mixed tires, mixed results.
And, you know, let's call it what it is. If there's a driver in this field here tonight that's going to be able to survive on 5-lap older tires and hold off guys, it's going to be the 76 of Justin Bolton. I mean, he's been so much faster than everybody else. Unless they've been holding back a lot, they have had absolutely nothing for him. He was up over 5 seconds over second, third, and fourth place before the green flag stops and the yellow flag. So even with 5-lap older tires, I still like his chances to hold these guys off. But it's not going to be easy for him. Even all the skill in the world, it doesn't add grip to the race car. It can't make the car go that much faster to hold off very talented drivers with fresh rubber. So Jeff Ward on the inside line behind the 76. We'll keep an eye on how this all shakes out when they fire off on the restart. But, you know, for guys like Michael Cozy Jr., Spencer Preet, hell, even Derek Paulson up there in 6th and the number 5. Haven't talked about him a whole bunch tonight. Sort of breathes new life into these guys' race and really puts Justin Bolton in an awkward position, Justin, to try and reassert that dominance, knowing he's at a slight bit of a disadvantage.
It's going to be very difficult. It's going to come down to, can you manage things? Can you make sure you can hold the drivers off without intentionally blocking severely to cause a situation or issue and work from there? It's just about that point at that kind of a race where things can go crazy. And all it takes really is one little piece of contact and we go into a caution situation, and where Bolton will end up looking like the genius out of it if it becomes the case. These drivers do not want that to happen at this point, obviously, with just 14 drivers on the lead lap after all the wave around cars.
Let's reset the field here as we'll get the restart on lap 109. Currently it is Justin Bolton out front. Michael Cozy Jr. will restart 2nd. Jeff Ward is 3rd. Spencer Preet 4th. Kyle Vincent Gilbert in 5th. Derek Paulson in 6th. Taylor Butcher Benjamin 7th. Chris Berg, haven't talked about him a whole lot tonight. He's up to 8th. Mark Arthur in 9th. And Ryan Wash will round out the top 10. The rest of the drivers on the lead lap: Steve Ritter, Brian McRae, Mike Montesi, and Dan Philippi in 14th. Those are your lead lap drivers. So here we go. Getting set for the restart. 26 laps to go. And the field is going to be in the hands of Justin Bolton. What can he do? What will he do? 5-lap older tires. We've seen that be a huge disadvantage for a lot of drivers here already, but he's on the gas and away, pulling away from Michael Cozy Jr. So at least on the start here, that was checkbox number 1. He has checked it off, got himself out to a nice lead as Jeff Ward will move up to 2nd. Now, can he hold on to it? That'll be the next item on his to-do list.
Indeed it will be. Now that's the main question. Now they've got that good start. If he can keep that distance at least, he'll be okay. I think, though, too, he's got to hope that drivers like Preet and Ward and Cozy Jr. end up overdriving their cars trying to pass each other instead of trying to pass him. Doesn't appear to be the case, as all of a sudden, Ward has jumped up to a very quick pace and closed within 2 car lengths.
I think even with 5-lap older tires, that's going to be too much for Justin Bolton to overcome. Jeff Ward is on the gas and moving visibly. You can see that gap shrinking as he searches around the racetrack, now moves up to that middle lane. He's been one of the few drivers here tonight, especially down at that end of the speedway in 3 and 4, using that middle lane. Gives up a little bit of time, but he's saving the tires too, holding up Spencer Preet at the moment. See, he lost a little bit of ground as Bolton used that bottom side, but I believe it's only going to be a matter of time. If Jeff Ward isn't going to be the one to get this pass done, Spencer Preet certainly will. He's a very motivated man, needs to get past Jeff Ward and get up to the lead if he's going to claw back any points in this championship fight.
And Preet was the fastest car last time by fastest lap of the race, in fact. with a 28.921. He's up and going with that 5-lap difference for Bolton compared to the rest of the field. That's about a 10th a lap on the short run in this kind of a race. Ward lets him on by after he gets the run. Now it's up to Preet to get the job done. He's now within 3 car lengths, David.
The perfect position for Spencer Preet to be in right now. He's got the best tires of the cars in front of him, even though there's only one. He's got the best tires as Jeff Ward continues to use that high side and sort of swing it down. That seems to be the tire-saving line. Not too concerned with keeping up on the back bumper of Spencer Preet right now. Again, big picture racing, the championship in 27 points to his favor is Jeff Ward right now, so no need to push the envelope. But for Spencer Preet, it is absolutely go time as he closes in now on the back bumper of Justin Bolton. In fact, swing it down to the bottom side, down the back straightaway into 3. Here comes Spencer Preet looking for the lead.
You gotta get the job done. Bolton tries the diamond off the corner, but nothing he can really do quite yet. While he can get that slight run on the bottom, just the fresher tires there from Preet, and the pace that Preet showed on the short run in these races is coming right back into play now for that 00 machine. If it stays green, it might be Preet's race, but still, anything can happen coming to 20 laps to go this time.
It will be 20 laps to go this time by, and Spencer Preet doing exactly what he needs to do. Give credit to Justin Bolton. He held onto that lead for a long time, and even all the skill that he has could not withstand that barrage from Spencer Preet. The fresh tires, a lot of aggression, and he is moving that time by a 10th and a half faster than Justin Bolton. So it looks like Spencer Preet might be able to put the sails in the wind and get to pulling away here, which would be ideal for him as Jeff Ward still holds on to third. Still seemingly pedaling it, maybe even at 90%, as he will not go down to the bottom just as much as the rest of these guys lap after lap. But he gave up so much time doing that, I'm not sure he has to change that strategy at this point to catch these guys.
I just don't know if it's that kind of a case at this point now to where it might not be the fastest run, the short run. You can see struggling, I think, actually, to get to the bottom line, to get the pace he needs to keep up with the top 2, and that's what's killing him in the short run for this race. While it helps in the long run, I don't think there's enough laps to be able to try and reel back in the other drivers with the line he's trying to run to try and save tires, because now he's just continually losing time now a little bit here and there to him, and along with Cozy Jr., to the race leader in Preet.
15 laps to go now as Michael Cozy Jr. in the 99 starts to close in on the back of Jeff Ward, sort of reminiscent of what we saw a week ago, although the roles would be reversed at this point. Again, don't expect any contact between those two, as this is not going to be for the lead. Jeff Ward continues to stay in that middle to high lane, especially on entry to 3, but he gets a good run off the corner. That's really what he's looking for. Traditionally, we've seen Jeff Ward sort of arc it in, let the car ride up, and then point it to the bottom in the center of the corner and drive off straight. Here at Texas, he's not really able to do that, but look at how well Cozy Jr. uses the bottom lane, just hooks the left front along the white line and gains a ton of ground on Jeff Ward. Here he goes now. He will dive it down to the bottom. It looks like it's going to be without any incident. Jeff Ward just simply can't do anything, as either he can't get into turn 3 well, or he's just not trying to that much and just trying to save his equipment.
It could be that he wants to save a little bit of those tires at this point. He's trying to keep something alive for a slightly longer run, diving harder in 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is honestly a more important corner to get right at this stage of the race, so better to be easier in 3 and 4 than it is in 1 and 2.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out, but Cozy Jr. will be up to third at this point. Let's say Justin Bolton has not fallen off of the back bumper of Spencer Preet. If anything, he's running a little bit quicker than him. Maybe it might be the effects of the draft, but he's not falling off. So Spencer Preet not pulling away here, Justin, like we thought he might. This could still be a battle for the lead before it's all said and done.
I thought about this possibility in terms of the lap distance. It was about 5 laps, yes. There is the chance if he saved enough, he can equalize the tires right at about this point. And this is where he takes advantage. The long run past 10 laps on sets of tires. And that's where, in part with the draft as you mentioned, is how he's now the fastest car on the racetrack for the past 2 to 3 laps straight. Now the problem is, that's going to make it very difficult to pass, especially when they reach lap traffic to try and get a run. This gets a little help though, because Preet nearly pushes into the wall.
Now I can see through the center of the corner that 76 is able to stay down on the white line longer through the corner rotation than Spencer Preet, as Preet pushed up really badly on the exit of 2 that last time by. Allowed Bolton to close in. He's taking a look, showing the nose here ever so slightly, daring Preet to come down, and he will. Oh, a lot of pressure there, but Preet now gets it down to the white line. That's the way you want to run that corner, not give any air to the front of the guy behind you, as Bolton will settle in. Still a car length between these two.
That's what he's really got to focus on here. He's got to make sure he's the one that's controlling the line of this race. Passing on the outside, Texas at this stage of the race is next to impossible. It's not going to happen. What he really has to do is make sure he controls that entry to the corner. If he doesn't, you'll unfortunately see people at Bolton getting in there underneath him. So maybe a little bit slower, maybe come down earlier on the line. Stay in front and don't let him get underneath you.
And you see it there as Preet just stabs the brake ever so slightly in the middle to bring the car down to the white line. Bolton doesn't have to do that. The 76 just stays glued to the white line no matter what he does. Preet really struggling and is fighting that car to keep it down there. Bolton's just making much prettier corners at this point as we're 11 laps to go now. Can Preet hold on to this thing, or is Bolton simply going to be too much?
It's going to be a very 50-50, I think. It depends on if Preet slides up too much and has to get out of the gas on the corner exit. Bolton can try and jump right on by to make the pass. But as long as Preet doesn't make any major mistakes and leave that bottom side open, it's going to be nearly impossible, I think, for Bolton to get a pass, even if he gets a run through the quad oval on this racetrack. It's going to be 50-50. If you make a mistake, you lose the race. If you don't, you win the race. Simple as that. Of course, not simple in theory. I mean, in practice, rather.
I can tell you, Jeff Ward took back over the 3rd spot from Michael Cozy Jr., went to the bottom side and made that pass work in 3 and 4 last time by, but keeping the attention up front. Here's Justin Bolton, continues to apply all the pressure in the world to the back bumper of Spencer Preet, as he has for about the last 5 to 10 laps. Preet doing everything he can, looking inside the cockpit. He is absolutely wheeling that thing for all he's worth, sawing on the wheel, giving 100% effort to keep Bolton behind him. But again, that 00 is just struggling to stay attached to the white line. Here comes Bolton. Good run on corner exit. Here he comes, taking a look down to the inside, down the back straightaway. Now this is the opening that Justin Bolton needed. What can Preet do here to defend? He's going to be up in the outside and just gives up a lot of time here. They're still side by side. Matt Ridgway going to be a pick once again out front. He'll move aside as they're 3 wide across the stripe.
See, this is the thing. You want to really back him down on corner entry, because that way he can't do anything with that speed. If you back him down there, it gives you the better run out the corner. He's not going to gain anything, so that's what he has to try and focus. But Preet has to hold on here.
Doing everything he can to hang on the right rear quarter panel is Spencer Preet. Still giving it a spirited run, but ultimately that's going to be the end of it. Justin Bolton back through and clear on the entrance to 3. So put Bolton back up to the lead now inside of 10 laps to go. Can Spencer Preet mount a charge to get that lap or that position back? Justin, what's he got to do here? Is he going to try and apply a lot of pressure, obviously, but is he that desperate for one extra point, knowing Jeff Ward's behind him, where he's going to try and apply the bumper, maybe?
I don't know if he can get close enough to apply the bumper unless Bolton somehow slides up on a corner exit. Bolton has been very strong on corner exit, especially turn 2, for the past 10-15 laps. That is where he's been able to nearly run over Preet, in fact. And that might be where he might not be able to reach him, because he needs to hope for that kind of a mistake in turn 2 to have any hope, I think, to try and set up the pass, or maybe a caution as it comes out for Cozy Jr.
Oh, my goodness. Heartbreaker here for Cozy Jr. He's sitting right in the middle of turns 1 and 2. We'll take a look at the replay and see what happened, but that was your 4th place runner. Once again, within shouting distance of the checkered flag, Michael Cozy Jr. sees his race literally go sideways, and we'll see what happens on the replay. Here, Justin, what do you see?
Up in smoke is the very least to say, but Ridgway, not sure what this is to really say.
Oh my gosh.
What was Ridgway thinking? I know he was trying to move to the bottom side. Maybe Cozy Jr. thought he was going to the high side, and instead Cozy Jr. committed to the bottom side. Ridgway, thinking he's going to go up high, squeezes Cozy Jr. into the grass, and in turn, sends both of them sliding, destroys both of the races. Mind you, Cozy Jr. had been suffering with a damaged car that was struggling on the straight line speed, and now a top 5 run completely demolished because basically lap traffic management, especially more so in the 13, I think, in that case, David.
Tough to say, but I mean,
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, yikes is indeed the case. You have to communicate with the driver in that kind of a situation, and I don't know if that kind of communication actually went on through for that situation, unfortunately.
Well, only two guys really know the tale at this point. That's Matt Ridgway and Michael Cozy Jr., but you look at another case of what could have been for Michael Cozy Jr. No, he wasn't as dominant tonight as he was a week ago at Iowa. No, he wasn't in the lead when the contact occurred, but nonetheless, he was in a position for a great points day. And he's said many times he's not here for the points, he's here for the wins. But that has just got to be more salt in an already open wound for Michael Cozy Jr. to see a top 5 run like that taken away in a very bizarre incident. And, you know, not to disparage Matt Ridgway, he's a great driver and has shown well, but just a lapse in judgment or I'm not sure what to call it in this situation, Rachel, but that's just very unfortunate.
Yeah, it really is, and I feel so bad for Cozy Jr. in this one, and not sure about the 13, what he was doing there. Miscommunication of the century, I think, and a bad call for getting out of the way. Going down there was never the place to go to at Texas, but it's going to give us a maybe 1 or 2 lap restart. It's going to get hairy.
We'll keep an eye on the pace cars. I can tell you, turns 3 and 4, most of the front straightaway are now bathed in shadow. Actually, the whole track bathed in shadow. That's the first time really tonight that we've seen that. I heard drivers talking in practice how much different the track was in the sun versus the shade, how much faster the track got, obviously without the sun on the track as the lights are still on the pace car. I'm not sure we're going to get this thing restarted. We only have one more shot at it, maybe for a 1-lap restart, but seems unlikely.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. In fact, I think we just got that 1-lap shootout. They just reached 2 to green this time, David.
Oh, fantastic. So it'll be a 1-lap dash for cash. Already inherent drama just saying that phrase, but now with a little bit different track condition, all of the shadow and the shade on the track, it's going to give these cars a little bit more handling, a little more grip. I think for guys like Jeff Ward, Spencer Preet, Kyle Vincent Gilbert, even Derek Paulson, they can really just send it off into the corner, even with 30-something laps on the tires here. Give it one more shot, Rachel. I don't know. We might be shouting our brains out before this one's said and done, too.
Certainly might be, and I think 1 to go is never going to result in anything particularly friendly, so looking forward to seeing this one go down. It's going to be a great end to the night tonight, but whew, we've had a good one today.
And of course, as I set all that up with the changing track condition, the sun decides to peek out just ever so slightly. Got to give a call to the boys over at iRacing for programming and the dynamic weather and sky. That's pretty cool.
It absolutely is, but you know what else is cool now? The racetrack temperature. In this kind of a situation, 71 degrees, which is fairly cold, meaning there's going to be a lot more grip and faster traction for these cars on this restart. It's going to be absolutely blistering, the pace for these cars in the last lap. The thing is, we could see drivers absolutely send it into turn 1 and 2 to try and battle for this win.
We're going to watch it all unfold here, but want to give a quick shout-out, of course, to our friends at Joel Real Timing, as coverage of the Dr. Squatch Pro Series presented by SESRA is brought to you by Joel Real Timing, the official timing software of LSRTV. So whether you spend your time on the sim behind the wheel, on the pit box, or from the spotter stand, JRT is the go-to software for iRacing timing and scoring analytics. You can get yourself a basic download for free or get the pro version at joel-real-timing.com. So big thanks to Joel Real Timing. We'll get them in here at the end of this thing, but here we go. 1 lap to get it done. Somebody's going to have heartbreak. Somebody's going to have romance. Can it be Justin Bolton? He's been dominant here tonight. Can it be Spencer Preet? With a little bit fresher tires. Don't forget Jeff Ward, Kyle Vincent Gilbert as well. We'll see how this thing shakes out. As the pace car will dive off, field in the hands of Justin Bolton. He's on the gas. They're all sideways. Derek Paulson up into the 1, and they're wrecking behind him before they even get back to the line. Reminiscent of what we saw earlier. That is a huge wreck, and Justin Bolton is going to get the checkered flag here tonight.
Absolute no words. Oh no is the only thing you can really say. We've seen this on the first restart. Wheel spin from the car on the inside, bobble straight to the right. This time ends up being Paulson slamming it a wash, and this time collects everybody. We didn't even make it to the checker, to the white flag. That's why the caution flag came out as quick as it did. But nothing I think anyone else could really do once everyone started spinning their tires and piling into an absolute wrecking ball on the first part of the quad oval.
I think about 6 cars made it through that from 7th on back. They absolutely went wrecking through the grass and everywhere else, reminiscent of that restart we saw earlier. Derek Paulson on the gas. I saw everybody jump sideways, but Paulson certainly could not hold on to the car. Gets up into the one of Ryan Wash, and well, I won't make a bad pun there. It's in poor taste at this point, as a lot of these guys saw a good run. Yeah.
Too bad I did it.
Yeah, there you go. But nonetheless, well, we're at a crawl on the front straightaway here as Spencer oh, waiting on the pace car. That's what it is. So it will be Justin Bolton under yellow getting his 2nd win of the season. Spencer, well, who's it going to be in 2nd? Jeff Ward, it looks like, or Spencer Preet. We'll get the unofficial results here on the other side of the commercial break as we wrap this thing up. A wild and wacky finish here at Texas, but don't go anywhere. You're going to want to hear these interviews from the top 3 here for the Lone Star 200 on your home for live sim racing, LSRTV.
We make our soaps with natural ingredients from the earth. Ingredients like oils, plants, goat's milk, Greek yogurt, oatmeal, shea butter, and citrus. No. Turn your shower game up to 11. With the smooth lather of gold moss or the exfoliating woodsy bliss that is pine tar. Get ready to step out of the shower feeling alive. Click the link for Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Real soap for real men. We make our soap. During the First World War, big soap started taking out all the natural ingredients to make production cheaper and faster. And they replaced all the natural stuff with chemicals. Chemicals like sodium lauryl sulfate, parabens, and dioxane. Chemicals linked to depression, liver damage, cancer, and low sperm count. And worst of all, dry skin. Oh. Your poor balls, all dry, empty, and sad. Click the link for Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Real soap for real men. Listen up, the soap you shower with, it's you probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. They're still using whatever bar their mommy bought for her little man. Is that what you want? To smell like mama's little man? Ugh. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Click the link for Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Real soap for real men. Or don't. and continue to be mommy's little helper.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSRTV and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Live Sim Racing LLC and iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations. LSRTV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.
And back to the Texas Motor Speedway. Hope you're able to gather your breath after that wild finish. 2 restarts gone wrong brought an end to an otherwise very entertaining event here for the Lone Star 200. Let's take a look at your LSRTV unofficial results. It was Justin Bolton for the second time this season coming home with the checkered flag, surviving the restarts there. Spencer Preet, a well-earned second place, and rounding out the podium tonight will be Jeff Ward. Kyle Vincent Gilbert comes home in 4th. Taylor Butcher Benjamin finally gets that good finish in 5th. Steve Ritter comes home in 6th. Dan Philippi makes his debut here tonight, comes home in 7th place. Mike Montesi 8th. Michael Cozy Jr., the pole sitter, that late race contact relegates him to a very disappointing 9th place finish, and Mark Arthur will round out the top 10. Brian McRae comes home in 11th. Ashton Schleiss 12th. Derek Paulson 13th. Ryan Wash 14th. And Chris Berg comes home in 15th, the last car on the lead lap.
First car lap down, Brad Collins, who got involved in that big-time caution that really scrambled things together for the rest of this race during the pit window. Rick Thompson, 17th. John Johnson, 18th. Matt Ridgway, 3 laps down, 19th after the contact with Michael Cozy Jr. Still speechless on what happened in that situation. All I can say, Jason Taylor in the top 20. Sonny Thompson and Fred Thompson, 21st, 22nd, 11 and 17 laps down respectively. Hunter A. King, 25 laps down with the DNF, with Doug Johnson also DNF'd. Jason Anderson, Aiden Patterson, along with Jay Graves Jr. and Jacob Sayers. The drivers who missed the grid, of course, Kevin Dye in race control. Zachary Sprun, originally entered to drive today's race, did not make it to the grid or onto the racetrack today.
Well, that is the look at the unofficial results. And again, some late race controversy will be something that people are talking about here. It wasn't for the lead, but certainly shook things up. And for 2 weeks in a row, Michael Cozy Jr. comes out on the losing end of that. Don't have the opportunity to talk to the race winner just yet. He might show up here in just a little bit. But in the meanwhile, let's talk to the man that finished second. Actually, check that. Let's talk to the man who finished third here, Jeff Ward. Jeff, a lot of things happened last week. We moved past that here tonight. Nice, clean run for you. You bring the number 9 home in third. Chaotic restarts seem to be the big issue here tonight for everybody. Walk us through what you saw.
Yeah, restarts were pretty crazy. It was a lot of tire spin, so kind of really had to kind of ease in the throttle when the green flag flew, and hope that nobody got sideways and tried to, hooked you into the wall or something. So, yeah, that was interesting and sketchy all at the same time, and ultimately it looks like that's what ended the race there. And congrats to Justin. He was on rails tonight. I don't think anybody had much for him. Looks like Spencer was able to get around him there for a little bit, but in the long run, Justin was just so fast. He was able to save real good and run right on that white line there, and I don't think anybody else was able to, or at least get down there that easy. Everybody else was fighting to stay down there. I know I was struggling most of the night. I never really could find what I was looking for. Found a little something in 3 and 4 up high, way into a run, maybe 30, 40 laps into a run, but on the short run, that didn't work for me. And really, we probably had a 3rd or 4th place car, so I'm happy with 3rd.
Well, you and I talked earlier today about big picture racing for this championship. Of course, all the events that took place at Iowa a week ago certainly can act as distractions, but nothing took place here tonight. Saw a lot of good, clean racing between you and Michael Cozy Jr., Spencer Preet, as well as Kyle Vincent Gilbert. So the Rebellion Racing guys weren't too mean to you out there on the racetrack. Was that something that was on your mind for much of this event here tonight, or did you just put it out just to focus on Texas?
That was on my mind a little bit. I didn't know really how we were all going to race together there. But, it makes me respect those guys even more, that even after an incident like last week, me and Mike still went out there and ran well together. So he may be saving it in his back pocket for when it really, really matters. But for now, tonight went pretty well. And I hate it for Michael, man. He even got in trouble there at the end of that one. So it helps us in points, but I hate to see 2 weeks in a row that happened to him.
Well, you started fourth, you come home third. No laps led tonight. I can't recall the last time I didn't see the number 9 out front leading a lap here in this series, but nonetheless, big picture racing, good for the championship. So, Jeff, I'll give you the opportunity to say hello to friends, family, sponsors, and everyone else who helps you and that number 9 get it done.
Yep, as always, thanks to you guys at LSRTV. I look forward to going back and watching it. Thanks to Dr. Squatch coming on board with us this year. Thanks to Loud Pedal Motorsports. I'd like to give a shout out to just all the guys at Loud Pedal. They got the 24-hour coming up, so give a shout out to them, and hopefully they can go out there and get a win in that thing. And just a big thanks to my dad, always rooting me on, and just friends and family.
Outstanding third place finish here for Jeff Ward. We'll look forward to seeing you next week at Gateway.
Yep, thanks, man.
All right, third place finisher there, Jeff Ward. And Rachel, looks like you've caught up with second place finisher Spencer Preet.
Have indeed. Spencer Preet joining us tonight in second place, which was essentially for the points races. Spencer in the championship positions was technically first of the guys who were competing for this championship. Justin Bolton just seemed out of everyone's league tonight. I mean, obviously you had a phenomenal race coming home today in second, but tough fight at the end there.
Yeah, he was quick. I knew he'd be quick. I just had a feeling, you know, he didn't really run much in practice in the session, but I just had a feeling this was going to be one of those Bolton racetracks, and it was. That first run, I guess he was just kind of not even really trying, because I felt like me and Koza were able to keep up with him, and he didn't pull that far away in the first long run we had tonight. But the run we had to the end where we got our last set, he was, I mean, over 6 seconds ahead of me at that point. So he was in another realm, but I'm even more surprised that, you know, he had 4 or 5 lap older tires, and he was still able to run me down on the long run in the last run of the race, which, you know, he earned it for sure. He definitely had everyone beat.
So he did, of course, and Texas, difficult racetrack. And tonight, with all the cautions, made things very difficult for you lot on the racetrack. Heading forwards, which of the tracks are you looking forward to the most?
Well, I think I'm probably looking forward to Sonoma the most, but I'm also interested to see Irwindale. I think is going to be kind of a wild card race. And I think what is it, Gateway we're going to next?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's going to be another wild card race. So I mean, anything can really happen. I'm looking forward to those because I think those are kind of my style of tracks. So I'm hoping that I can try to make up some of this ground I lost. You know, last week was tough because I had spent probably 4 or 5 weeks before that just barely chipping away to get within 2 points of Jeff, and then I threw away 25 points in one night. So it's going to be tough. It's going to take a lot of mistakes from him, which are few and far between.
Well, we look forward to seeing what you can do, of course, in these upcoming races. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Just thank you to everyone at Rebellion. Shout out to Dr. Squatch being on the car, sponsoring the series. Shout out to Cozy and you know, I feel for the man. He's lost him every single way possible this season, and I feel bad for how his race ended. Shout out to him and his stream, and shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Everyone watching.
Well, there you go. Thanks for joining us. Spencer Preet coming on today in second place.
Unfortunately, not able to get a word with tonight's winner, Justin Bolton. I'm sure if we did, he'd have something to say along the lines of, car was real fast, I was real fast, restarts were sketchy, but in the end, we got the win. I don't know, Justin, what do you think? 134 laps, pretty wild action here at Texas. What did you see here tonight? What's your takeaway?
My takeaway is just keep your tempers calm is the only message I can really say after this kind of a race, because everything figuring Texas, the tempers also were in this kind of race tonight. The mistakes were in this kind of a race. If you let it build, it could end up affecting the rest of your season. We'll have to see how things go the rest of the way, because it was an absolute bonanza of a race, to really say for the most part. Was kind of expecting it to trend towards this way, but not in the way it did tonight, David.
Fair enough. They never seem to go the way that you expect, but that's why we keep coming back and watching. And this show will shift to the Midwest final race of that segment at Gateway Motorsport Park 1 week from tonight, January 24th. We'll be out there for the Midwest 200, so you'll see these same drivers and more duke it out there. But that'll wrap it up for us here tonight at Texas. 134 laps of action was certainly enough for us to digest, and we want to say thanks to you for joining us, making us a part of your day wherever you turned in from. So, for our producer, Brett Wheeler, for Justin Prince and Rachel Whiteford, I am David Schildhaus saying congratulations to Justin Bolton and good night from Texas.
The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.